hell is
Well, I
wrong?
know we have a good.
Hey, everybody, here we go with the House Wholesale Real Estate Investing Series, number 170, no, 154. All crossed up over there on this Wednesday, August 8th, 19th. I don't have the date right. August 19th, 2015. And just want to say that this is going to be an awesome day today because I don't know why, I have a feeling there's good stuff coming out. And John Leister, I'm sure, has a bit of that for you right now.
Absolutely. Hey, welcome to the Hangout. Happy Rising. I'm really excited for today. As Paul said, it's going to be a great day. You know, if you start each day with that attitude, how can it not be a great day? Because then your mind's open to just looking for the things that are going to make it great. And Paul, why don't you just, I love the pop collar. What's that there right about here? What does that say right there on the shirt?
What's it look like?
Sell a house, Arizona.
These are these are only for the upper level management team here. Everybody else can have a t-shirt, but yeah, we're gonna have. I just thought I'd pop this one off to you this morning. Get a little show you a little style here. Very nice cut, fits well, and yeah, we got a couple of these for you as well. So I thought you might get a little excited about that.
I like it. That's awesome stuff. You
Yeah.
know, I talked about Monday, Paul, you weren't here, just basically about the importance of having a positive morning routine that starts off with just jumping out of bed in the morning and trying to get yourself activated by immediately programming yourself for the day to be positive. I don't want to go back into that really, but by the end of the Hangout on Monday, I did promise the people that we'd give a little content today when dealing and negotiating with sellers. The reason I thought we could share that is, you know, if you scour YouTube or the internet for wholesale real estate trainings, you know, you find a lot of good information, a lot of gold nuggets, and a lot of stuff that's mainly related to the wholesale real estate business. And I can't tell you how many videos I've watched that are all basically the same message, that explain the basic dynamics and mechanics of a wholesale deal, and then talk about the motivated sellers. And Paul and I try to do it a little bit different here. You know, these Hangouts are about an invitation to you to come aboard our team, but we also really talk heavily on the personal development side of things to get your mind right. And one of the things that I think is so important about personal development is that you learn not to be a selfish person. Yes, you're trying to develop personally, but to really take things to the next level in your life, you have to have the ability to work with and understand other people, especially if you're in sales. And as far as I'm concerned, every single person out there is in sales, whether you realize it or not. So one of the biggest keys to success is your ability to deal with people. So staying along the tradition of us always discussing a lot of personal development, personal growth stuff, however, trying to bring some useful content into a Hangout, I thought a good discussion possibly we can have today is just some of the different ways to deal with personality types of sellers.
I think that is a fantastical idea because, yes, as we've talked about many times, the missing component to all of the, well, not all, but to most of the wholesale real estate investing information that is available to the general public, whether it be free or pay for through some program or whatnot, that one of the major missing components is the whole idea of, making the deal. That's the one piece that, you still have to do yourself. You can't systemize it. You can't, well, you can to a certain extent. To take a human, it cannot be repeat or anything such as that. It is going to require a human being to do this portion of the business. So with that in mind, what type of human being needs to be in place to make that happen? And it needs to be a person who, as John said, is very, very good people skills. The better your people skills are, the bigger your dollars are going to be in your bank account, and that's the bottom line. And I can tell you straight up from hands-on truth and experience that this is indeed 100% going to correlate to the amount of success that you achieve in this business. Because when coming into this 4 years ago, my people skills, although the ability to talk with somebody on a semi educated level, that I could hold a conversation with someone that made sense, that really wasn't too much of an issue for me. Initiating a conversation, that was a huge issue, number one, right there. So there's a huge fear factor to get over right there. And in fact, going all the way back to where you guys know that I was at one point in time involved with the cash for cash flows business. And one of the trainings that I paid a lot of money to attend was a boot camp, so to speak, of forced phone calls. And that was picking up the phone and cold calling, and just one after another, having a stack of leads right there with phone numbers, and just cold calling, picking up one after the other. Hey, so and so, this is Paul calling about blah blah blah, yada yada yada. And that training right there in and there of itself helped me to get over that fear of initiating a conversation with somebody about something important. Whereas before, prior to that, I would be fine if somebody called me. I literally had enough knowledge to sound like an expert, but for me to have somebody pick up the phone on the other end and for me to initiate that conversation was impossible. It was impossible. That boot camp training helped me get beyond that, at least to a certain extent. It's still, even to this day, that is, not an easy thing to do, is to pick up the phone and cold call a seller and bring up the whole idea of, hey, looking at this property, whatever the situation is, and, calling to find out if you might be interested in selling. Even though you're not calling to sell them anything, just picking up the phone to call somebody like that is a huge, major thing that a lot of people have a major problem with. So just in that of itself, then let alone get down to the business of talking money. How many people out there, including yourself, whoever you are, have experience in negotiating and talking dollars and cents with other human beings on this planet? Not very many of us. So the whole idea of getting down to the nuts and bolts of actually talking dollars and cents with somebody, and how to go about that, and how to approach it, and how to start it, and how to work your way into it, and when to pull the trigger, and all those sorts of things. Yeah, there's a lot of content there, John.
I want to touch on something that you just said there about that boot camp that you did. What was it called? Cash for cash flows?
Yeah.
And that is, getting out of the fear of initiating a conversation. What I liked about what Paul said there is he said what the boot camp helped them to do is get over the fear of initiating a conversation that is important. I think that's a huge mindset or little piece you should be telling yourself when you approach a seller. If you've got a phone call coming in, or a phone call you're returning, or you're going to sit down or knock on a door and initiate a conversation, that's something very, I think, powerful to tell yourself, is that no matter how you feel, you need to just get over it, get out of your comfort zone and initiate a conversation that is important. Because what we do at Sell a House Arizona and the Property Noodlers and the people on our team, actually, in our opinion, we're doing important work. That's the mindset behind what we do here for wholesale real estate. And that is a huge piece of what makes it easy for us and our team to approach people, is that we're out there helping people, which is important. So if you know that you have something important to share with somebody, the thought of any fear of initiating that conversation should just be removed from your head with the simple fact alone that this is important stuff that we're going to be talking about with these people. And I think that's the mindset you need to have with, step one going into these conversations. And then a little bit there too, Paul, and then we can get into some things, other things here, is you mentioned about people not really knowing how to negotiate another human with dollars and cents. If you've been to other countries or you've bought and sold things from like peddlers on the street, even in New York City or in Mexico, you never pay what they ask for that crap or that stuff that they're selling. But Americans really don't have that in our culture to go and negotiate. That's because most of our shopping is done where everything is labeled with a certain price and it's non-negotiable. So where do you learn how to barter and negotiate people? And that's a huge piece that's been left out of a lot of what I'm looking for on the internet so that we can bring you quality content. Is like what's missing from other trainings, and really the negotiation and the barter, how to talk to someone in terms of dollars and cents.
Yeah, you know what? That's two key points there that are definitely great starting positions. Like you said, I think the very first thing is, I mean, we could sit here, we could probably break this down into, several weeks of training, to be honest with you. We could probably go through this, break this down into several weeks of training. But the very first thing, like John says, is understanding that stuff so much is because how you present yourself to the other person is just as big, if not bigger, than what you actually have to say. So now going in, if you're not to say, then obviously you're going to have a hard time presenting it in a manner that exudes confidence and allows you to secondarily have fun with it. When you're going in and you're all worried about what you're going to say and this, that, and the other thing, who am I to be talking to this person kind of an attitude, that's a great factor about just putting it into your mind that, what, I have good solid information here and I am bringing important stuff to this person, and it's basically sort of my duty to be doing this. And with that sort of an attitude, that'll help you build the confidence that you need to be able to, stand before someone else and, present your information and gather information from them, et cetera, and so on, ask the right questions and those sorts of things. So your attitude going in is, like I said, probably just as big, if not bigger, than the actual information that you have. And then secondarily, what you were talking about there is, what was that you were talking about there?
Barter and negotiating.
Yeah, the negotiating part. Yeah, you know what? I don't know what part of the country you live in, but take a trip to freaking Tijuana or something and go buy Mexican trinkets on the street and practice your negotiating skills, because because literally, like John says, when do you have an opportunity to negotiate anything here in America? Maybe when you're going to the new car dealership and you can sit down with a new car dealer and you've got X amount of cash in your pocket, you can put up a sizable down payment or whatever, you've got a little bit of negotiating room to do some negotiating there. But where else really? You walk into the freaking store, or you walk into the fast food restaurant, and the price is there. There's the price. You pay it, you add the tax onto that. That's what it is. Boom. We're just so used to looking at, okay, what's the price? Here it is. I'm done. I don't have to do any negotiating. That's all been taken. Oh, shaking my table here. That's all been taken out of it. It's all been taken out of the equation. It's all been taken out of our lifestyle. It's not something that we as a society are accustomed to doing on a regular basis, that it's in our blood to be able to go out there and negotiate with people, to bargain with people, to haggle with people. Go to garage sale. Okay, you can't go to Tijuana. Go to garage sales. Go to garage sales around your neighborhood, and don't even have a plan on buying anything. Just see how low you can get them to agree to sell you that piece of crap that you really don't even want. You want some practice negotiating? Go to garage sales. All right, there's my tip of the day. And don't even have any money in your pocket. You're not going to buy nothing. Just see how low you can get those people to come down on the price that they have stickered on that item. All
and
right.
then when you come down to your price and you don't actually want to buy it, say, nah, you know what? I don't even want it at that price, and walk away. Is that what you're telling people to do, Paul?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. You're there to have fun with this, right? Hey, take some money. Who knows? You might actually see something that you actually do want to buy, but don't pay their price. All right. Get them down. Don't buy it unless you can get them down on the price.
Anything to start with. And you know what? I do want to touch back on something you said there, Paul. It's like, if you approach this with the mindset that this is important, and you've gone out there and you kind of have a sense of how to negotiate, barter for price a little bit, and you treat it like it's something kind of fun and challenging, that'll help you with confidence. Two other things that I was thinking about there while you were talking, Paul, was, to go into a negotiation situation takes, especially if you're new in this business, you want to have confidence. And I kind of think that's the most important thing to walk into any conversation or any negotiation with, is confidence. Whether you feel like you're confident or not, you got to go in there with an air of confidence and just stand up straight, keep your shoulders back, don't hunch over, make eye contact, shake their hand with a tight hand grip, not like a limp fish or a limp wrist. I hate those handshakes, and so does everybody else. But, a little bit of preparation and practice before you go into a situation where you want to negotiate on price. Like, you can use the example of the garage sale. That trinket he's asking $10 for. Okay, I want that, but I want it for $5. So start with the end in mind, and then kind of work your system backwards to where you visualize what the outcome of your negotiation, your conversation with this seller is going to be, right? Okay, this is what I want from them. Then you got to kind of work it backwards and think about how you're going to get them to give you what you want. So you have to be compassionate to what they're looking for. You got to be open to what their desires are, so that you can show them that their desires are your desires, and make them see eye to eye with you on that level. And you're going to get there by asking people questions, letting them talk about themselves, and then using their answers and like kind of a script to move them in a certain direction. But my recommendation is you kind of start with the end in mind, so that going into any negotiation what your desired outcome is. So then you kind of step back and prepare a script, or prepare mentally a conversation you're going to have with that person. And even before you go into a negotiation, you're going to practice what you've prepared. And Paul and I have done this, probably still continue to do this to this day, that we always end up talking before actually a negotiation is about to happen. We practice with each other. We bounce ideas. I let him know, hey, this is my approach. And then he critiques or adds in his own 2 cents, vice versa. And we've developed some really awesome scripts and some really awesome ways to approach people, certain phrases to say to people. And a lot of this will come from experience, but I'll use this as an opportunity just to say a lot of this doesn't have to come from you figuring it out on your own, but working with people with experience. So you don't have to have experience to gain experience, but you want to surround yourselves with people that have that experience to show you. But
certainly be a whole lot nicer to actually be able to run your thoughts. You know you're going into a negotiation. You have a price that you're wanting to achieve. Sort of maybe a little bit about the situation and what's going on with the seller from prior conversations that you've had, et cetera, and so on. But now, like I said, it's now down to the nitty gritty, and you're actually going in for the, the close, the face-to-face, get the ink on the paper session, and, determining the final numbers, and to have someone that you can talk to with that and sort of just go through, say, yeah, I was thinking I'd go in and do, I'd say this, and this, and talk about this, and then, work my way around and say this, that, and the other thing. And to actually physically say that verbally aloud to another person prior to, and then, have that other person just, maybe, oh, you know what, instead of saying it this way, you can say the same thing, but say it this way. It's a little softer kind of an approach. It sort of, comes across better, or whatever the case might be, and be able to make a little tweaks on that, and, sort of that kind of a thing like that. That's a huge, huge factor that, just might allow you to actually go out there and get ink on your very first contract, opposed to stumbling through maybe your first whoever knows how many before you actually get ink on a contract. So just having, the team, so to speak, as John was talking about, members of your team, coaches or mentors, or however you want to put it, that somebody that you can run stuff by and sort of refine what it is that you're going to go and do, and what you're going to go and say, and how you're going to say it, and how you're going to deliver your information, is a big, huge plus for somebody who has never done this before, and even for somebody who has done it before, because as John said, we still do it. So I mean, just every time that you're going to go out there, before you go, having the ability to run this by somebody, and do a little critiquing on it and refine it just a little bit, and then go hit it, is huge. It's a big major plus. And like I said, it can help you immediately, go from, getting a deal to, losing a number of them first off out of the gate. And later on, it can just be, something to help you learn and grow and continue to, make sure that you're getting out there and you're landing more than you're not landing.
Absolutely. Sorry I had to run off there, Paul. We've been doing the Hangouts since 8 o'clock this morning. I've slammed 16 ounces of coffee and orange juice and a big giant glass of water. So I think you know why I had to run off there.
Enough said.
So, enough said. So I caught a piece of what you're saying, but everything we hear today, I mean, start considering how important it is to deal with other people. And I would even recommend a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I wish I had it, because there's I just tell you what the 6 areas that this book covers. So I'll try to tell you a couple that I remember, because this is going to help with dealing with people, which ultimately is so critically important in wholesale real estate, is because we're negotiating deals directly with the motivated sellers in order to get things at a wholesale price, so we can flip for a profit, assign the contract for a nice profit. So with that being said, this How to Influence Friends and Influence People, understanding the concepts about how to deal with other people, back to what I was saying a few minutes ago about preparation and practice. I mean, it really breaks down different ways that's going to help build your confidence. Like, one, as simple as always smiling. Another concept the book talks about is really, and this is to me the heart of negotiation wholesale real estate, is that you want to understand the person's problem. We're looking for motivated sellers. You've heard it. What is a motivated seller, and why do we want them? We want them because there's a reason why they need to sell the real estate fast at a discount. So in order to get them feeling good with you, feeling comfortable with you, and selling to you the house at a discount, and you can also, Paul and I have ways of creating motivation within someone that may have otherwise not been motivated, but it's all about understanding what it is that they want. What are their goals? One of the questions we like to ask people when we're dealing with probates, and this isn't letting any real cats out of the bag, it's just kind of an obvious thing, as we say, what are some of your major challenges that you've been trying to overcome since you became the personal representative for the estate when dealing with the real estate. And then all of a sudden you hear they respond to that like, oh, you know, just getting all the heirs to agree. Oh, the house is full of stuff. Oh, it's in disrepair. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to get out of probate. You're going to all of a sudden hear what the challenges these people need to overcome. And it's our jobs to make them feel comfortable enough, vulnerable with us enough to let the cat out of the bag, but then to respond to exactly what it is they're asking for and get what you want by showing them through negotiation and compromise that they can get that you both can get what you want out of this transaction. I mean, that's kind of a gist, but I mean, that's basics, but it all comes down to understanding what the other person wants.
I think in the book it's written as show genuine interest in the other person.
I wish I had the book there, because I know there's a sentence to sum up this idea, which is, be genuinely interested in what the other person has to say. Show genuine interest and concern.
Yeah, and in other words, like you said, you're asking a question in regards to what they're actually talking about. It's not like you ask a question and then they give you a bunch of information and you just, boom, move on to your next question about a totally different subject. You know, once they start giving you information, when you're showing genuine interest in another person, you're taking what they just said and you're going deeper. So what John was just talking about right there with that question, you know, what is your major challenge? Oh, well, you know, I have to, I'm having trouble getting all of the heirs, you know, in one, you know, and on the same page. Oh, really? Well, how many heirs are you having to deal with? You know, instead of, oh, well, that's interesting. You know, well, how much do you want to sell the house for? You know what I mean? Instead of jumping to another subject, showing genuine interest is going to a different level, a deeper level on the subject that you're actually in at the time. So that's kind of just a quick little example there, you know, of showing genuine interest in another person, is to not jump subjects, you know, one question after the other, as your script might be. You know, your script is an outline of the 6 general questions that you want to, you know, get the answer for. But within, you know, the confines of each one of those 6 questions, you want to go deeper with adding your own questions by showing genuine interest.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Paul pointed out there, and that's very important, because you've got to get your mind set thinking this way. With the question, you know, what's the major challenge? Oh, getting all the heirs to agree on anything. Oh, how many heirs are there? You know, you're asking a question to follow up with what they said and build that deeper connection, build that relationship. And, you know, our scripts and the way we approach people is designed to lead them to the idea that selling us the property is the best solution, and what we can offer you and what we can do for you through the process of the sale is we're the best possible choice for you in coming to this solution. So we got to lead the people there through questions, and we have scripts that do that. And there's a reason behind asking how many heirs are involved. And there's follow-up questions to usually what comes. But having pre-planned questions, we should point that out, because we've been kind of vague by just saying, you know, ask people questions. Asking people pre-planned questions, because we start with the end in mind, the outcome of the situation, working it backwards, realizing that we have to engage people, create or bring their intention and heighten their level of motivation to sell to us. And we get them there by asking questions, but we're not just taking a shot in the dark. We're pre-planning those questions. So I see that we're coming right up on about 9 o'clock. So, you know, my final thought for today is, you know what, Paul, I'm just going to toss this out there. I think this is some good stuff to continue on talking about over the next several weeks, as you said, dealing with negotiating people. And I just had this thought, maybe Mondays on these Hangouts, we can start how to win friends and influence people training every Monday. or every new op day as kind of a way to train ourselves for a system of dealing with other people. Because with our other hangout, we teach business systems. And I think having a system for how you deal with other people is critically important to your, not only your business success, but your personal growth. So, that's just a thought that I had here is Mondays, we might want to turn into how to win friends and influence people Mondays.
Well, I'm glad you recapped that at the end, because you froze out there for a second, and I heard maybe Monday could be how to win, and I knew what you were saying, and then you just came back and you capped off at the end. So I didn't hear what was in the middle there, but it's okay. It's all good. I get the idea, and I think that actually is quite possibly a really great idea, because we do a similar thing on our network marketing training, where we cover a training session, a manual, so to speak, that comes out of a book. And we do that every new op day. We don't do it on whatever day John was talking about there. I don't even know when that day happens, but on every new op day, we start out our week with going through that particular book. And this one could very, very certainly be a great inspirational, educational book to bring live, interpretation on these hangouts on new op days. So that just might be our next little piece there, John. I kind of like it.
Paul, it's funny. Everything you just said there was the whole middle to what got cut out. I talked about that Mondays, or I'm sorry, I even corrected myself. New op days is a day where we discuss a book with our network marketing hangout that has to do with your business system. And the one thing I wanted to, that you didn't catch, but you were kind of alluding to there, is that we have Mondays where we devote to this book. To me, because of the book that we're discussing, and Monday being what Paul and I utilize as our organization day, systems, I was looking at the How to Win Friends and Influence People book as a way to start studying a system in which to work with people. So,
Yeah.
we're looking at the business system and, the system of dealing and networking people. So a systems new op organization Monday.
I think we might change the title, though, to How to Win Friends and Influence People into Signing Contracts.
All right, Paul. Well, I'm out of final thoughts, so I'm going to toss it to you. You can go ahead and end this hangout.
Oh, universe, I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom with which to make better use of the riches given to me at birth, consisting of the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever end I might desire, because without more wisdom, the end I desire is completely unattainable. All right, everybody, I just threw that last piece in. We'll see you back here on Freedom Friday, and we're going to have some live kick butt information that I think we're going to carry on with this subject matter we got here, because this is, as we talked about, the vital missing link, key element to wholesale real estate success. Adios.